Angela Davis comes to us tonight as a former UC Presidential Chair in African American and Feminist Studies, a professor in the History of Consciousness program from UC Santa Cruz, and more importantly, she arrives to us tonight in Riverside as a tireless activist for liberation, decolonization, and radical freedom. Please join me in welcoming Professor Angela Davis.
Thank you very much, Setsu, for the wonderful introduction. Stand up for a moment. Stand up. I'm not saying that you should give me a standing ovation, but I know you've been sitting for a while, right? And I also realize that as we have been sitting here for the last 2 hours watching you, you have been watching us, but you haven't been able to see yourselves. So why don't you turn around and kind of look at who's in the audience? Okay? An amazing audience, isn't it? Okay, you can sit down now. So I want to begin by acknowledging the indigenous people on whose land we now stand. And I would like to say that it is a great pleasure and an honor to have been able to have been invited to participate in this program. I think this program, Setsu and Faraz and all of the other organizers, is really leading the way for campuses and communities all over the country to accelerate their opposition to Israeli militarism and its colonial expansionism. What I especially like about this event is that it has emphasized intersections and connections and associations across historical time and national boundaries and across ethnic and racial and gender and sexual differences across different social justice movements. So when was the last time you attended an event that was able to accomplish this amazing conglomeration of such a broad range of events and still sound extremely coherent? And let me say that here we are. I was just realizing we're at UC-Riverside. And UC-Riverside is the you might say it's the it's one of the best kept secrets of the UC system, because what is happening here this evening needs to be happening everywhere. And so I see this event as announcing the beginning of the end of the immunity that the state of Israel has enjoyed in so many progressive circles in the U.S. And in this sense, it makes me and those of us who are of older generations, think back to the beginning of the anti-apartheid movement in the U.S., especially the early calls for divestment. We remember when South Africa enjoyed a similar immunity, especially where campuses and governments were concerned. So I really want to thank Setsu and Faraz and everyone else for having put this program together. I want to thank you for the boldness of the title that makes all of us think about the connections between apartheid and settler colonialism and the situation of the Palestinians and the situation of those whose lives have been claimed by the prison industrial complex here and throughout the country. And so I would actually, I'm still thinking, I forgot to start my timer to let me know how long, because we have 20 minutes each. So I probably have already taken up 5 minutes. Anyway, I wanted to thank Dean Stephen Cullenberg for his support. He's sitting right here. I mean, you have... So you have an amazing dean. We were hoping he would come to UC Santa Cruz, but you see, UC-Riverside is where everything is happening. I'd really like to thank all of the previous speakers. Oh, is it hard for you to hear me? Is this better? Okay. Okay, I'd like to thank, oh yeah, it really is. I'd like to thank the previous speakers. I'm always happy to be on the same program with Andy Smith. She always combines her careful scholarly research with an approach that frequently has a profound radicalizing effect on her audiences. And so Andy is really the epitome of the scholar activist. And I'd like to thank Nadine, who is a great asset to any community. I had the privilege of teaching at UC Santa Cruz when she was a postdoctoral scholar, and she shook up our campus with her powerful ideas, just as she is compelling you to think more carefully and more deeply about the subject we are discussing today. So thank you, Nadine. And Yael, and of course Kiana. What happened? Kiana was, she had to leave. Oh, she's at the inside. Oh, there she is. There's a hand. She's at the insight table. And Allah, thank you, everybody. I don't usually do so many thanks, but I feel really inspired by this event. And I want to say that I am always surprised by the way opposition to the policies and practices of the State of Israel is so frequently assumed to be equivalent to anti-Semitism. That's one of the themes that has emerged from all of the talks. People have pointed out that these anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are two entirely different phenomena. And we should also be cognizant of the extent to which the appalling Nazi genocide continues to be evoked by some people as an excuse for genocidal policies on the part of the State of Israel. I learned very early in my life and in my trajectory as a political activist that we had to be careful about distinguishing between states, governments on the one hand, and people's populations, movements on the other. I attended Brandeis University as an undergraduate. That was a long, long time ago. I don't think I'll tell you. I guess I'll have to at some point because Brandeis was founded in the same year as the State of Israel, 1948. And of course, we know from the presentations we've heard that the founding of the State of Israel involved the violent expulsion of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their homes. Now, Brandeis University, I don't know how many of you know Brandeis, but it describes itself as, quote, the only non-sectarian Jewish-sponsored college or university in the country. Now, I'm not Jewish. I could be, but I'm not. And I had the good fortune of receiving a very large scholarship. I guess it was a kind of affirmative action program, before affirmative action. But during my years there, I learned a great deal